G'day viewers, I'm Simon Christie and welcome to Life Off-Road. This week the adventure continues. We're in search of waterfalls, the pub with no beer, and we're heading north from Mount Disappointment to the Tallarook State Forest. Come along for the ride, it's going to be another great episode.
So day 2 of this trip with Life Off-Road and the team, really good start to the morning. We all woke up nice and early, it started to rain. Melbourne hasn't let me down, and I think as someone outside of Melbourne, we're not really supposed to talk about the weather in Melbourne. But hot day yesterday, chilly day today. But it was good, it set the scene, it sort of changed it up a bit, give our cars a little bit of a natural wash.
So I woke up this morning, it was pretty rainy and miserable. It's quite nice waking up in the swag though, hearing the rain on the awning. Got up and packed up in the rain, which was a little bit chaotic, but we're pretty keen to get out of there.
We were predicting a lot of rain this week, and this morning woke up and we could hear the pitter-patter of raindrops as it started to come in over the range, and thought to ourselves, geez, this could get interesting. Naturally, as it was, it came time to roll in the awnings and the rain really started to hammer down.
Well, we're woken up this morning, had a nice feed of breakfast, and I thought I'd better do a bit of a check over the vehicle before we get out there and hit the tracks again. I just want to touch on one thing that does sort of get forgotten about, is what we call a catch can. The idea of that is to catch the oil mist before it gets pushed back to the engine. It will pass through a filter and it will drain down into a tube. You must drain, which is blow-by basically. So we do all the brackets, all the hoses, looks sort of like a factory fit. It's a very high quality rubber also. Obviously it has to be heat resistant and oil resistant, and that's one we do also. So it comes in one carry bag, vehicle specific, and it's straight in there, great fit, and then it's done and dusted. Looks like everybody's ready to go, so I'll just finish up now, complete my checks, and then we'll get back out and hit the tracks out there and enjoy a great day.
After leaving camp this morning, went for a bit of a drive down to Strathcreek, which was quite enjoyable. The weather was pretty full on, it was absolutely pouring.
We went out and did a bit of a tour around, did a couple little trails early in the morning, and then went out to this beautiful walk down to a waterfall. It was just quite lovely. There's massive big granite rocks. So interesting to see how those mountains form, and then obviously the waterfalls forming through from that.
We headed off down to have a quick look at one of the waterfalls, which was nice. Not much water in there, but always good to have a look.
Simon had some other tracks for us to do that, which were very entertaining and challenging.
We headed down to Strathcreek Crossing Track, a really nice track, quite closed in with a fair bit of greenery. Got down to where there used to be an old log bridge, but that's obviously been washed away over the years, so we took a right-hand turn, drops right down onto the creek bed, a really rocky creek bed with some really big rocks in it that we had to work out and navigate our way over.
Then after that, we went and did a nice little trail and came to this beautiful little hill climb, which was really challenging, and then that was right when the little mini thunderstorm hit. So heavy rain, heaps of thunder. It was good, it was actually quite challenging because of so much water flowing down.
There was a really steep descent into a rocky creek crossing. There wasn't much water there at the beginning, but it filled up pretty quickly with the amount of rain we had. It also created rivers running down the hills.
And on the other side, a really cool rock climb. Now, with the amount of rain that we'd had, we realistically had 2-3 streams coming straight down the guts of the track. Thankfully, really good rock base there, plenty of grip, and got up there quite nice and easily.
Very challenging, and a lot of wheel placement was involved in certain places to put your wheels, otherwise you'll lose traction. So I had to keep a bit of the right pedal into it and just kept the momentum going through it and got away to the top.
Would be a lot more simple in the dry, but with that little bit of extra rain, you know, you don't know what your car's going to do. You don't know how slippery some of that rock is as well, so you've got to be more vigilant as you're taking on those terrains. And it's handy when you're in a group like this, you can watch what other cars are doing, and you've got someone like Simo up front, the Iveco, that can really sort of set the tone for the track.
We headed over to Struss Creek and had a look at the pub there, which has been closed for a few years now. A lot of the guys used to go there a lot when they were four-wheel driving in the area.
We all raced down to this beautiful little brewery that's been built up. It'll be pretty exciting to see how that progresses and when that finishes off.
In its renovation period at the moment, I think it has been for the last 4 years, but fantastic pub there, a lot of history, great people running it as well. It's just a fantastic place.
My family and myself purchased the old Strath Creek Hotel in 2014 after it had been closed down for some time, with our dream of opening a country pub. Mentioned to the wife that you want to buy a pub, and she said, yeah, why not? And we did. Look, you've got a bit of everything around here. Got awesome four-wheel drive trails, amazing scenery, not too far from Melbourne. It's a great place.
From there, we've quickly ducked over the hill to Flowerdale. Again, a fantastic pub, just really not that far out of Melbourne. We've got some really good pubs in the area, and this is an absolute must if you come out to see a country pub in Victoria.
So ready for a good pub meal at the Flowerdale Hotel. Just spoke to the owner myself and actually picked up some supplies for the campsite. He seems like a really nice guy. He actually got a lot of knowledge in the area. He talked a lot about cars that are coming through here and people that are using this as a stop-off point on their way to their destination, or somewhere just like what we're doing, to stop here for a good hearty meal before we head back out on to do some trails.
I'm Steve. I run this with my wife Viv, and we've been running it since 2001, and we're just an hour out of Melbourne. The area's been changed a fair bit. It was hit in 2009 by the fires. We're 10 years coming February. Life Off-Road have just popped in and tried a few beers and a couple of Palmers, which we're well known for. We've got a Redback Palmer, which is our own recipe, and anyone that's had one will always come back for another.
We're heading off into the Tallarook area. Looking forward to finding some more tracks. Hopefully the rain stays at bay, and we'll be camped up again tonight. This week I've brought along Shannon from our office to come and experience how these trips are all put together, and we've had a really good time with the crew. It's always great to get all the industry guys together and we come out and have a lot of fun.
Took off towards Magazine Track, winding through the mountains, which was quite nice. Bit of a scenic route through there, which was really, really enjoyable. Nice windy roads, really, really great lookouts, really, really enjoyable tracks, and really, really nice scenic views.
Out of the box, the Iveco Daily 4x4 is a seriously capable off-road truck. But just like with any vehicle, when you add some smart accessories, they just get even better. So let's check out some of the modifications I've done to date, starting with the tray. This custom alloy tray by Expedition Vehicles Australia is built light and strong. It takes full advantage of the vehicle's GVM with a large carry space, that minimum overhang. It's got an excellent departure angle, fantastically handy toolboxes on either side, steps to access the tray, and it maximises the clearance of the vehicle. The tray is also the perfect place for mounting your weather-resistant fridge. In my case, I've got the My Coolman 60 litre here, quick and easy access. You cannot get better vehicle protection than a steel bull bar, and I wouldn't settle for anything less than an ARB. We've got the Nava LED 215 high performance LED driving lights. We've got the Australian-made RFI antennas, one for UHF, one for mobile phone. And down the bottom there, we've got the mean mother 12,000 pound electric winch. And we've got a second Mean Mother 12,000 pound winch mounted out the back. From the factory, the mighty Iveco is approved to run 37-inch tyres, and we've taken full advantage of that with a set of 37-inch MTZ muddies. Now, if all else fails, we are running a pair of Tread Pro traction boards, but I think we'll end up using those on somebody else. Now, this is a seriously well kitted out four-wheel drive, but believe me, this is phase one and there's plenty more still to come. For now though, let's get back on the tracks.
So we made our way through the forest trails and finally made our way to Tallarook. It was a nice, challenging drive, beautiful scenery, and do recommend it to anyone. And then from there we had a couple more tracks which were quite challenging, nothing too radical.
We headed down a magazine track, a really short little track, a great little four-wheel drive track though, with some really great rock faces and bits and pieces out into the right-hand side. But the track itself, some really slippery stuff along the way, and some quite muddy and clay-based areas, had to really be careful of.
So we just arrived in at camp this afternoon, which is good. A little bit earlier than yesterday, which is fantastic. It gives a bit more daylight to set up. Got a couple of tracks to do tomorrow, so which we're really looking forward to. But at the moment, it's been a little bit of a long day, so we're keen to get all camp set up.
Last night's setup in the dark was a little bit of a challenge, but this time we settled at a campground well before sunset, allowing enough daylight to assist during setup. Most of us worked in teams of two with ease, whilst the solo campers took a little more time.
We just got to camp, got all set up, started to get a little bit dark and realised it's time to get some lights out. Nothing better than the new Narva ALS range that we've just released. These three here are part of our Bluetooth speaker range, 600 lumen, 2000 lumen and up to 5000 lumen, all Bluetooth speakers. The two here are power banks as well. You can charge your phone off it, which is really, really handy. Got two head torches that we brought here. We've got the first one here, which is a 2-stage floodlight, detachable as well. Magnetic, chuck it on the side of the car whilst you're setting up. All USB rechargeable. We then move on to the larger of the headlights. This one here has 2-stage spot or flood beam. Also comes with a beam underneath which illuminates below you. Rechargeable, detachable, and the best feature that we find is wave on, wave off sensor. The third one we have here ties into the Bluetooth speakers. Very similar product without the speaker component. The lights themselves, this one here goes to 400 to 2000 lumen. Power bank to be able to charge your phone, which is really, really handy. So there we have the Narva ALS range, perfect for any campsite. You've got Bluetooth speakers, you've got lights, you've got portable power banks, IP67 rated, so if it rains, not a problem at all. Starting to get dark now, so we're going to hand them out and see if we can light up the campsite.
In the morning we woke up to a light drizzle which eventually turned into quite heavy rain. We couldn't pass up the challenge to tackle the tough, slippery terrain. Certainly hope nothing goes wrong.
pouring with rain, as it was yesterday, but that's all right. Didn't dampen our spirits one bit. Done a couple of tracks this morning, which was fantastic.
We often look at the rain forecast and you think to yourself, geez, if it's raining, we're not going to go out. And I've got to say, it's a really good opportunity to go out and drive the terrain in different conditions.
In the wet, it really did not just test the vehicle, but test the driving skill.
Definitely challenging for a few of us. Having said that, still quite enjoyable. We all pushed ourselves to the limits and got through nice and safe.
Simon's taken us on a nice track, nice steep descent, rocky hill climb.
It's actually been really good fun getting out here in the wet, throwing a few more challenges at us. There are slippery rocks, all that kind of stuff that we would have missed out on had we have said, hey, rain's coming in, too hard basket.
Hung in there, the old 200 series, went all right. It's a good way to test the vehicles and your equipment and some of the upgrades that we've done as well. So it's a good way to test it in different weather conditions.
Really fun to come out, experience some tough weather and negotiate around that.
Throughout this trip, we've taken on a really diverse range of tracks, and that's what four-wheel driving's all about. Terrain's changing all the time, and that's why we have to understand the importance of good working suspension. It's not only going to give you better clearance to make sure that when you're going over rock steps or ledges in the track that you're actually not going to be bottoming out and scraping your side rails, but it's also about weight management and handling capability. The fact is that there's a lot of weight going onto these vehicles, and it's not necessarily the way the suspension that comes from the factory was designed to handle. So it's really important to start thinking about upgrading your suspension package. Old Man Emu Nitrocharger Sport is a great example of a suspension package that was built and tested to ensure that you get the optimum performance when you're driving. It's important to understand that when you're buying a suspension package, you're getting a good quality package that's been manufactured vehicle specific for a purpose. Get your car set up with the right suspension package and really enjoy the comfort and safety that comes with a good suspension package every time you get in the car.
We're approaching the end of the day and the end of the trip, but we wanted to squeeze in one more lookout.
Over the last few days, I've had an absolute ball with Simon and the team. Met some new friends. We all represent different companies, but at the end of it, we're all mates.
When you've got such great experience amongst a good crew of people, it gives you a little bit more flexibility to maybe take on some of the tougher tracks that you wouldn't do if you were by yourself.
We've ended up here up the top of Mountain Track, which is great. Really, really nice look out here. No more rain, and we've got blue skies.
Middle of the day, and it's about time to start packing up and think about going home. We've had a great trip, fantastic crew, and really looking forward to finding out where the next trip takes us.
It's been a great few days and I've had a ball. I'll definitely be putting my hand up to come on the next trip with Simon and the team.
Another amazing trip in the books, and what a place to end it.
What an amazing few days it has been exploring the Mount Disappointment and Tallarook State Forest in central Victoria. Both of these areas have so much to offer. Do your research, get up here and check them out. Viewers, thanks for watching Life Off-Road. I'm Simon Christie. Tread lightly, keep it safe, play hard. We'll see you next week.